Welcome into Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson on this Tuesday afternoon. A little rainy outside. Some people have had some unfortunate weather today. We hope everybody is safe. We hope everybody is safe along with this COVID-19 and all the problems we have going on now. First things first, I want to send a shout out to the first responders and healthcare workers, as I always do, just out of respect. I think right now what they're going through is tremendous. We appreciate everything they do each and every day. And especially right now, we know that they are tirelessly working constantly. And then we just hope everybody's safe out there and everybody do your part. But, Coach, we got a lot to talk about today and a little bit of time. So how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing well, JP. Good to be with you.
Absolutely, Coach. Coach, I want to start off here. This is something that's going to happen today. The NFL is going to have a conference call and vote on a playoff expansion to 14 teams. This was something that we heard about before. There's a lot of things that are going to be on this conference call. Of course, talking about if the 14 teams passes, then who is going to televise these games and so on and so forth. A couple things with the CBA that was in there. Coach, I know that for a lot of people they say this waters it down. Well, the counteracted to all of this is when they've applied a 14-team format. When you look at this from going from 10 teams to 12, 44 of the 60 teams that would have claimed the 7 seeds had winning records, including 10 different 10-win teams. The only team, the 1990 Cowboys, would have made the playoffs with a losing record. Now, Coach, my question to you, look, as a fan, I love this. I think it's awesome. Add more teams, that's all well and good. But, Coach, as a coach that's coached in the NFL, that's coached at the highest level, played at the highest level, are you in favor of this?
Yes, I am. I think it's good for the game itself. I think it's good for the fans. It keeps additional interest up for fans in certain cities longer. So overall, I think it's good. I don't see any reason that even the players would object to having an additional 2 teams in the playoffs. I think it's a good deal.
And we think with the owners, of course, that they'll love this as well because there's more money to be more money to be made in all this. I mean, we know right now, especially with we're not sure what's going to happen. That's a definite yes from owners, Coach?
Yeah, I would think so because, listen, playoff games demand a little more money than do regular season games. So the more that they can put out there, and, of course, television is anxious to gobble it up as much as they can give them. So I can't see a real downside. I mean, there are a couple of things that maybe you could point to, but I really can't see a tremendous downside on this at all.
Coach, I want to scoot on over here to the New England Patriots. This is something that we'll continue to talk about because we're not real sure what's going to happen right now. There's a lot to be said with the Patriots, of course, losing a quarterback of 20 years in Tom Brady. I want to start with Matthew Slater. This is a guy that's been with the team for 13 years. He's their longest tenured player on the team now that Tom Brady's gone. A guy that's been around the block with him. He understands what's going on. This is not a guy that just joined. This is a guy that's been around. He knows what Belichick wants. Maybe not the outstanding player, that you're looking for and a star here, but a guy that has done his part and paid his dues here, Coach. He come and talking about Tom Brady. It's the elephant in the room for a lot of people, and people are kind of waiting to hear what the Patriots are going to say about that moving forward. And look, he come out and he said, I don't think the goals change at all. The standard doesn't change at all. The pillars that we stand upon, they don't change. He said, if you go into the season with a defeatist mindset, then you can't expect to be successful. We have a great opportunity. We have a lot of good football players. We have a tremendous coaching staff, and we have to go in the season expecting more from ourselves than anyone outside the building expects from us. We have to go in with the same drive, the same focus, the same determination. If we don't, you shouldn't even step foot in the building because we're already going to be beat. Now, at the same time, Slater comes out and is talking about Tom Brady. When you talk about Tom and everything he's meant to the organization and our team, a lot of our identity over the last 20 years has been centered around him. Anytime you transition away from a player like that, it's a tall task. Adding that his primary feeling toward Brady is gratitude for all he's done. You have to find a way to deal with it personally and process it. I think as a team, we're going to process that Tom is gone, do it in a healthy way, and be able to move on and have success. Coach, when you look at this, and Slater goes on to talk about they're going to create an identity for themselves because it's been Tom Brady for so long here. There's a couple things that I want to talk about in this. And now, for Slater, I think it's the right thing to do coming out. And he said there's nothing wrong with what he said. It was more about moving on, not waiting on the decision of what Tom Brady did. Coach, with that, do you like the comments? And then my next question is, when you look at this, is a question that hasn't truly been asked, and we're going to wait and find out, I guess, for some people. But Coach, because you're a fan of what the Patriots have done, with the coaching staff, what Belichick has done, the way that their process is. Who is more important in this? Is it Tom Brady or is it Bill Belichick?
Well, let me start by saying Slater is extremely valuable to any football team, especially to the Patriots. I mean, he really fits a niche that maybe Belichick is best at utilizing. But he's a special teams player deluxe. He's great in the locker room. He's a tremendous leader. So whatever he's done, I really have a lot of admiration for him. Now, to Brady and Belichick, and I've heard this on television. It's more or less like two clowns trying to determine what they need to talk about and how they can maybe diminish the Patriot image a little bit. Can we separate? People want to attribute success to one thing. It's not one thing. Why can't we just understand that this was a unique combination of maybe the greatest coach to coach the game and the best quarterback to ever play the game? They ended up at the right time on the same team with the same ambition, the same drive, and it just has been an unusual situation. But to attribute the success to one or the other, I think it's folly. It's just absolute folly. Why not say what is true? Belichick did his job better than anybody else, and Brady did his job better than anybody else. Now, you put that together, you got a winning situation. So that's really all I've got to say about it. I mean, I don't know how anybody could really talk about that situation and try to pair them or try to take them apart and say Belichick's more responsible or Brady's more responsible, and now we're going to find out since they split up. No, and there's some extenuating circumstances on that. But New England was a unique situation, and it all fell together.
Coach, when you look at New England here, a lot of things questions that I get from friends of mine was New England, obviously they're not going to be the same, but are they still going to be viable even if they have a guy like Jared Stidham or if they brought in, Andy Dalton or Brian Hoyer, depending on who it is? And the reason that they ask is because, remember, they've Matt Castles and guys like that went and had success here. It's not solely my response to this is it's not solely the quarterback position. I think the quarterback position is important, but it's minor at this point because of everything they have. Coach, look, we're going to talk about their tight end situation in a little bit as well. But even with Jared Stidham at quarterback, do you still see there's no way the dynasty or the success just falls off? Belichick, I know there's a lot of things that go into this. I just can't see him being that 8-8 team.
Listen, I don't think they're going to be in the running for the Super Bowl this year because I think this is certainly, if nothing else, a year of transition. We won't say rebuild because that's not in the vocabulary of a Belichick, but it is a transitional year. Now, will they do as well as they did with Brady at the quarterback? No, I don't think so. But they're going to be good. They're going to be a good football team, and they're going to be. I think there's a chance that they could get to 9 or 10 wins this year, which would be outstanding. Probably make the playoffs. But it's going to depend on how well that defense comes together after, they've lost a couple of defensive players too. But they're going to have to win it the old-fashioned way, I think, which is certainly Belichick's capable of doing that. And keep in mind, Stidham is not a dud. He's a good talent. He's a talented young man. And I think he'll get better and better as the year goes on. But does that mean he's going to approach Brady? No. So I don't want people to get the wrong idea. And then Brady, I think, is going to do a heck of a job for Tampa. I've already said I think Tampa will end up winning that division, which is really one of the tougher divisions in the National Football League.
Yeah, Coach, with New England, I think it's we have to remember this team has had success. It seems like no matter what. Now they're not. I agree with you. I don't think they're going to make the Super Bowl. It's not that style of team. But to win 10 games or make the playoffs, this is a team that also, Coach, if you get them in the playoffs, man, that's scary. Just because they're able to beat you at any time. I mean, you give a one-on-one game like that, Belichick is not the guy that I want to go against. I don't care who his quarterback is. I don't care who his team is, because this is a guy that has crafted and done such a good job in coaching with his teams for so long. So it's going to be interesting to see how this stuff plays out, because this New England team, they're not going to fall off the map. It's not like they're going to be have 4 wins next year and they're going to be vying for Trevor Lawrence. I don't care who their quarterback is. This team is too good. And Belichick, he's not a guy that's just going to say, like you said, Coach, all right, let's just rebuild. That's not in his DNA. It's not going to happen. Coach, I want to talk about something here. Interesting story, because Cam Newton, we have Cam Newton and Jameis Winston. There are 2 quarterbacks right now that are looking for jobs. And, well, it seems that Jameis Winston kind of getting used to maybe being in Tampa. We're not sure what's going to happen with him. There's still plenty of time, obviously. Coach, I know you have said before that you believe it's probably best that Jameis gets out of there as well, when you talk about everything that goes along with that. And we feel like Bruce Arians, with the comments he's made too, that they're probably looking to shop him. Tough thing now for Jameis, though, is, well, where do you go start? And that's the thing, is he's going to have to wrap his mind around possibly being a backup here. And we'll talk about Jameis a little bit later. The other guy, Cam Newton, and this is a guy that when he's been healthy, he's been a good quarterback, a guy that was league MVP. And then ever since he's had those ankle injuries and things like that, and of course this is a guy that's a tough player when you look at this style. I know he's had a ton of injuries here. When he's been healthy, he's been good. Well, Colin Cowherd has come out and said that the Chargers, which are rumored to be the best fit for him right now, and that we're potentially in the hunt for him, they've come out. The Chargers have already said, listen, we're not signing a veteran quarterback. We're going to stick to Tyrod Taylor, which leads us to believe their draft projections of drafting a quarterback, whether it's a Justin Herbert or Jordan Love or whoever it may be, are true. So when we talk about this, Colin Cowherd came out and had an interesting article, and he was talking on his show as well about Cam and Tyrod are actually a lot more similar than we believe, and a lot of people scoffing at that. It's funny, Coach. He brought up the last 46 games. Cam Newton is 23-23 with 65 touchdown passes and 44 interceptions. Tyrod Taylor is 24-21-1 with 54 touchdown passes and 20 interceptions. He said, listen, after the 2015 season, when you look at these guys, Cam had a tremendous year. I mean, we're not going to take that away. 35 touchdown passes, 10 interceptions. Tyrod Taylor's been a guy who's a bit of a journeyman, but, last year spending the year on the bench, interesting type of thing. He was there with Baker Mayfield in Cleveland. It's so tough to look at what Cleveland or what the Chargers are going to do right now, but Colin Cowherd, Coach, I think he has a point here, because when you look, if Newton is healthy, he's clearly, I won't say clearly, but he's probably better than Tyrod Taylor. But here's the question. Is he going to be healthy? And we know this is a question that people are asking about Tua, but for Cam Newton, he has been in the league for some years now. He has battled through some injuries, and it seems like just about every time he comes back when he's healthy, something happens. He gets hurt. This is a guy that likes to run the football as well, takes those big hits. This is a big guy, but in the NFL, you can't take too many hits. That's where we look at guys like Lamar Jackson. How long do they survive? Because, look, the stats are the stats. That's the proof is in the pudding right there for those guys. Coach, when you look at Cam Newton here, and you hear those stats, I go back to it, 65 touchdown passes and 44 interceptions, and 54 touchdown passes and 20 interceptions for Tyrod Taylor. When you look at the Chargers, do you think it's a smart move to stick with a guy like Tyrod Taylor, or should they approach Cam Newton?
I'll tell you what it looks like to me is the rumors that we've been hearing and the inside information that we've gotten from a couple of people tends to run true here. It looks to me like the Chargers want to draft Herbert, and they like him an awful lot. That's what I would say. And Tyrod Taylor could be the guy that gives them a starter maybe for the first few games and a chance to build. Yeah, but they obviously, I keep hearing from too many sources that they really like, it must be their scouts and coaches have an inside connection to him, but they really like Justin Herbert. Now, if that's the case, then that's their Joe Burrow. That's their go after quarterback. So why would you bring a Cam Newton in? I just think about it realistically. Why would you bring a Cam Newton in who is going to expect a large portion of your payroll, who is obviously hurt more than he's well the last 2 to 3 years, who is a questionable locker room guy? What would he mean to your football team if you decide to go with Justin Herbert and put any other quarterback or quarterbacks on the bench? What would that do? How would that affect him? And then how he would affect your football team at that point? And I see no real upside here unless you just got to go with him. You got to bring him in and go with him, and Tyrod Taylor is the backup. I think would be the only way to go there. And if I were the head coach there, in charge of personnel or whatever, I would not want to put all my eggs in that basket and say that for injury reasons, personality reasons, and other possible downfalls there, that I would want to bring this guy in and put all my eggs in that basket. I hope that makes sense to you. That's the way I would look at it, and that's the way I read this. Plus the fact they must think Justin Herbert is the kid they want for the future, and I have a lot of respect for him. Let me go back to while we're at it. We mentioned him, but in Jameis Winston, there's no starting position that I can see anywhere for Jameis Winston. Now he's going to be, at best, he's going to be a backup, and he may as well get ready to go do that. I think he'll end up being a backup somewhere unless he decides he doesn't want to do that. But forget about going somewhere and being a starter at this point. I can't see any place that he would even have a legitimate chance to be a starter. So anyway, on those two, that's the climate right now, I think.
No, I think you're right, Coach. And on the Jameis Winston part, I know Chris Godwin came out and said, half of those interceptions were on a bad read on somebody else's part. I get it. I'm not buying it just because of watching the games myself. I know there's a lot that goes into it. Coach, playing quarterback, a lot of times you're running plays that are off of reads on the wide receiver's part. You guys got to be on the same page here. I just find it so hard to believe that you can say 15 interceptions weren't his fault. Like that's where I have to call, bull malarkey on that. That's a lot of interceptions to say it's on somebody else's part. But nonetheless, on that, for Jameis, I agree. I think, Coach, that Jameis still has a lot of potential, but I think it's going to be good for him to go back somebody up and sit back. And if he wants to be a starter again, to truly sit back and learn. I hope he goes somewhere where he can get behind a good quarterback and learn the process and really look at it in a different glance. Because anybody that's been a backup, if you were a guy that was thrown into a start, even in high school, if you were thrown into a starting role as a freshman, you didn't understand, you didn't learn as much because you were having to go out and do. I know, Coach, just being a backup going into my freshman and sophomore years, looking at the quarterback, and we had a fantastic quarterback in high school, but it was different because I got to study the film. I got to study the playbook and watch other people go out and perform. And I think I bring that to Jameis Winston. He's young enough where if he's serious, and I think he can be. I think there's a lot of things he's got to figure out. But this guy has so much. I know we hate that word, that potential, but he has some intangibles to be really good. But it's up to him at this point. I think though it'll be good for him to go sit behind somebody. Do you agree with that, Coach, or do you think that Jameis is not going to be happy being a backup?
It would probably be good if he could handle it. And here's where he fails the test, I think, bigger than any other spot that you might put on the list there, and that's in the intangibles. I don't think that he checks all the boxes in the intangibles, and you got to be careful there. That can lead to some serious problems. That's why there's no way any way that they can keep him in Tampa. You would have some players there. You divide the locker room, number one, and you would put a challenge there for Brady. And we'll in just a few minutes we'll talk about what Brady's real role at Tampa is, and it might be surprising.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. And Coach, we're up against a break right now, but when we come back, we'll talk about that. How is Brady going to fit in with Tampa? And also, the Buccaneers believe that Tom Brady had to sell himself to them. I don't know about all that, but we'll talk about all that and more right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
Pensacola is an amazing destination enjoyed by millions of people every year. High Point Hotel Corporation is proud to offer area visitors a place they can call home in Pensacola. Whether you're looking for a downtown property with space to work and play, a place to rest your head before your morning flight, or a large suite for an extended stay, High Point Hotel Corporation has a place for you in Pensacola. Visit us today at the Courtyard or Resident Inn by Marriott in downtown Pensacola, or the Hampton Inn, Homewood Suites, Hilton Garden Inn, or the new Residence Inn near the Pensacola Airport.
Just felt there's a huge need in Pensacola to bring foot and ankle services, specifically orthopedic foot and ankle services, to this area. There's so much growth in Pensacola. I wanted a freestanding orthopedic foot and ankle center to do this, and as far as I can tell, this is the only one really in the country that's freestanding. Most orthopedic surgeons are part of a multi-specialty group. So we offer on-site x-rays, on-site CT scan, and on-site MRI. They can come to one place.
Visit NielsenOrthopedics.com to reserve your appointment today.
There's only one name in town when it comes to afternoon local sports talk. The Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante.
Some athletes don't want to be given... nobody does. Now, look, when you play with your pops as it gets older, one of the most embarrassing things, my daughter's 3, I just slam it right in her face right at the play school hoop. Like right there, like I'm Zion Williamson.
The games, the players, the fans. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You can watch Coach K talk football live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson on this Tuesday afternoon. Know there's some tornado warnings and stuff going out as we're watching up here, getting alerts in studio. Hope everybody's safe out there. I think it's over in Okaloosa County, so if you're listening to this and you haven't gotten it, well, Find out what's going on. Be safe out there. Regardless for everybody else, remember with this COVID-19, just do your part. Wash your hands. Keep your social distancing. We're going to get through this, and we're going to get through this together. And right now, though, Coach, we're talking some football with you. And I know, look, we talk about Tom Brady, and this is going to be so interesting because it's exciting. I'll admit it. As a fan, and I am not a Tampa Bay fan, I like Tom Brady, but I think it's exciting for NFL as well. And regardless of what happens here, for Tom Brady going to the Bucs, he has weapons in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. He has O.J. Howard and a guy that I think people forget too, and Cameron Brate. Those are two tight ends that are pass-catching tight ends that haven't really been utilized correctly, and I'm not going to blame Jameis Winston for that necessarily. But, Coach, when you look at Bruce Arians, it's a guy that it's an interesting mind. He's a creative offensive mind here. Of course, he was all for getting Tom Brady coming in. And this is, Coach, how is Tom Brady going to fit into this offense, or how is this offense going to transition to Tom Brady?
Well, interesting question. And now this goes back quite a way, so I'm talking about something that I'm well aware of. But when Brady goes down there, he will be, in essence, the offensive coach, offensive coordinator plus. And I'm talking about even insertion on the field. He will do the practice schedules, work on just like a coach. He'll be coaching the offense. And he did that to some extent at New England. And people that had worked out against New England, this is how I know for sure, but people who had practiced against them, where two teams get together in preseason and they work against each other for 2 or 3 days. And he said, watching Brady on the field in practice, Belichick usually stayed down around the defense, and Brady was yelling and moving people around and yelling if they ran the wrong route, if they didn't do this, didn't do that. Even the offensive linemen on blocking, the protection in particular. Backs on the running game, receivers in the passing game, everything about the offense. You get on the defense, if you were a defensive coach and they ask you for practice to run a certain coverage on a certain play so that they could get the practice in. It's like a normal practice schedule. I know people aren't aware of this, but when you're going through practice, the offense works to help the defense when it's defensive period, and when it's offensive period, the defense works whatever the offense wants them to, so that it gives them a chance to work on what they're doing for the week. Well, they would have certain coverages they'd want the defense in, and if they, even though it was another team, if they didn't do it right, Brady would be yelling at the coach. Over there, the defensive coach, get those blankety blanks in the right coverage. And so he's like a coach on the field, has been, but he'll be even more so, I think, at Tampa, because I don't think Bruce Arians maybe wants to take on that type responsibility, that type work at Tampa. He will be a good Bruce will be a good man overall, but I think he would like for Brady to come in and do that. And as far as some of the rumor is concerned about Brady having to sell Tampa, you can take that one to the barnyard. You know where it belongs, because he may have decided at that time, I'm sure he has, or he had decided that this may be one of the best opportunities for him. And I'm sure that he went into some detail, either by answering questions or by bringing up certain situations and modes of operandi. So, having said that, I think Tampa made the steal of the off season, and I think Brady ended up making a good decision. So anyway, it's going to be interesting, and it's really going to be interesting down there around Tampa when they get out there with practice and so on, and he will very shortly have them getting on the same page electronically via technology with the receivers.
Yeah, Coach, and what Coach is alluding to here with the whole having to sell himself. Of course, the GM Jason Licht of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers came on Get Up yesterday actually and was talking about with Brady. He was trying to explain to them why he thought he made sense to come to Tampa Bay. And Jason Licht said, well, talked to Bruce Arians for about an hour and a half, which can't imagine why it would take that long regardless. But he said the next call we made, we signed him. And I agree with you, Coach. I look at that, and it's almost like a shot. I don't know, not at Brady, but just in general, just like him kind of stepping up. Look, this is a proud moment for the Bucs. This has been a while since this Bucs team has been relevant. And if you're a Bucs fan right now, I know Davis Allen, Coach, Davis as well. He's a big Bucs fan. It's been a long time. He's been sighing about the Tampa Bay Bucs. He's excited now with Tom Brady. How are you not? I was excited as a Tennessee fan of the potential of having Tom Brady, and I get stuck with Ryan Tannehill, which hopefully that works out. I'm going to trust with what's going on, but nonetheless, look, for Tampa, Coach, I agree with you. It's such a steal for them because they already had some weapons in place. My next question to you, though, is when you look at a team that, with Tampa, we know the offseason they've had so far, and things can change. They may go pick up some more pieces. The defense is already good. I mean, they have a really good defensive front four, some good young linebackers. It's a good young defense up there. They're going to be better now that Brady is there. That's a point you've made, Coach. And when you look at this, this is a team that Tampa. I'm almost inclined to just say I believe Tampa will win the division too. It's so hard for me just because there's some Saints blood deep inside me right now. But the Saints, I tell you what, this division, the NFC South, is tremendous. Even teams like the Falcons picking up Todd Gurley. I know that they lost Austin Hooper at tight end position, but this Falcons offense is still the Falcons offense that can score at will. It's going to be interesting to see how they change it.
That division now, that division is extremely tough. I mean, you just stop and think about if a year ago we had talked about a division that would have Tom Brady, Drew Brees, and Matt Ryan in the same division playing each other twice. He said, wow, that would be tough. Well, it's a reality now. And plus, Bridgewater's not bad, but they're not in the same category right now. Ready? I don't think they're ready to challenge, but the Saints certainly are, and the Saints are a team that could certainly be in the Super Bowl. And listen, nobody has more respect for Drew Brees than I do, but I just think it's going to be one heck of an interesting division, and we'll all be keeping an eye on it. And it's like teams. People have teams, and I understand that. I more or less root for people and organizations and how things are put together from a schematic standpoint and so on, how they handle the press, all those types of things. That means more to me than any particular location. Like we could have the Nome, Alaska Giants, and it would I'd be for Nome if they had the right combination there.
Yeah, Coach, you talk about the Giants. Maybe the Jets need to move out to Nome, Alaska. But no, listen, I agree with you. I think, too, with the Saints, it seems with this NFC South division, once one team makes a move, another team makes a move, trying to, I guess, keep up with the Joneses here, because you look at the Saints picking up Emmanuel Sanders, there's some help right there. And this is a guy that some people scoff at in Emmanuel Sanders, but I think that's the perfect role. I don't think he's a number one. This is a guy that was pretty good, with the Broncos until Cortland Sutton and those guys came into town. But for him to be a number two, that's perfect. And they still have Traquan Smith. The tight end position, we'll see what happens. But I think I agree, Coach. This NFC South, this is incredible. Teddy Bridgewater, we're not sure what he's going to be. We saw a little bit of a glimpse last year. But this is an entirely new offense with Teddy Bridgewater. He doesn't have the weapons out there. He still has some young guys that can be really good. And don't forget, he's got his safety valve over here, Christian McCaffrey. Oh, and not to mention he has Joe Brady. So it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, there's so many questions in the AFC South, enough to talk about the NFL just in one division there. Coach, I want to move on to another quarterback situation here that we've talked about a little bit. Now, we'll get into the draft. We'll talk some mock draft here in just a little bit. But the Redskins quarterback situation. Now, Ron Rivera was asked if Dwayne Haskins was a starting quarterback after a trade of fifth-round pick for his former Carolina quarterback Kyle Allen, and he said, "That's what we're going into camp believing, but they're going to compete. We really like what we have in terms of our young quarterbacks. Kyle is a young guy who has a live arm, understands the game, understands how we do things. I'm so excited what the potential could be." Coach, the reason I bring this up is, look, for Redskin fans, they kind of hang their head a little bit right here because we've seen this before. It reminded me of RG3 and the whole Kirk Cousins fiasco here. We saw how that played out. When you look at this for Dwayne Haskins and him saying, well, that's what we're going into camp believing that Dwayne Haskins is our starting quarterback, Coach, I'm just curious. If there is a competition, why even say that's what we're going into camp believing?
Well, I think they probably said the right thing. You can't, you don't want to give the impression that you're going with these two young quarterbacks that you're going to preordain one of them the starter before camp. You want to have the best competitive situation that you can line up. And let me tell you, they have evidently felt that this is what has eluded Haskins so far is a very, very competitive situation. Even going back to Ohio State, you're at a school where you're gonna most of the people you play, you're gonna out talent, you're gonna outman every week. And from the time he went there, he really at the time it was time for him to take over. He took over, even though Joe Burrow had a better spring game than he did before the year that he took over. So he's really not come to scratch against great competition. And a lot of people don't remember, but that's why Joe Burrow left Ohio State, was he felt that he had earned the starting job in that previous spring, and they gave it to Haskins. So they must feel that he really needs this type approach in camp, and I think they're putting it on him. But I also feel that they're fairly comfortable with their quarterback situation, and it may be out of necessity this year that they feel that way because of the owner.
Yeah, I think for Washington right now, Coach, you're right. I get it. It's one though. With Redskin fans, you just want to know what's going to happen. And that's the thing, is that only time will tell. For Dwayne Haskins, this is a guy, Coach, that I feel didn't get a fair shake. He wasn't put in a very good situation. I think just this whole situation of drafting him overall with all the uncertainty has been almost unfair to the kid. I mean, if you don't want him, you don't want him. Move on and go about your business. But Kyle Allen here, I just have a feeling, Coach. Look, Kyle Allen, I like him. I don't like him a ton, but then again, Dwayne Haskins, I don't know. This is going to be so interesting for Redskin fans. I know they're trying to rebuild, and if you're a Redskin fan, look, we'll tell you like Florida State fans, it's going to take a little time. This is not going to be you're not going to be playoff bound this year, most likely, without something crazy happening here. But with Ron Rivera there,
I'll tell you what it does sound like, though. To me, JP, is they like Allen very much. Now, they had him last year, ended up starting a lot of games without a lot of success attached to those starts. But evidently he was doing what they anticipated or what they had hoped he could do, and they like him. There's no question in my mind for them to make that move to get him out there. There's a tremendous amount of confidence in that young man, and he may end up being your starter.
Yeah, I think with the Panthers last year too, you got to remember when David Tepper came in, there was always this something against with Ron Rivera. They didn't mesh very well, so that team just in general didn't play up to par like it should have. There's a lot of good pieces on the Panthers, and some of them are gone now, but I still think they didn't play like they should have. It's going to be interesting, though. I agree, Coach. Kyle Allen is a good kid. I mean, he's a good guy. He was put in a situation much like Dwayne Haskins, not really up there to succeed. So him following Ron Rivera, I think, is interesting. I think he will be the starting quarterback. But then again, I want to see what Dwayne Haskins can do. And I think for the Redskins, hang on. It's going to be a little bit of a ride as usual. But nonetheless, I mean, at least you've got a little bit of depth there at that position. Listen, Coach, we're up against a break.
Oh.
Go ahead.
No, that's fine. We'll get it after the break.
Okay, when we come back from the break, we're going to talk some more football with you. We're also going to break down Pro Football Focus. If you haven't checked out Pro Football Focus, pretty awesome stuff there. Their mock draft, some things that may make you scratch your head a little bit, and some trades that, well, make you raise your eyebrows. All that and more right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck, Bentley. That was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Pensacola is an amazing destination enjoyed by millions of people every year. High Point Hotel Corporation is proud to offer area visitors a place they can call home in Pensacola. Whether you're looking for a downtown property with space to work and play, a place to rest your head before your morning flight, or a large suite for an extended stay, High Point Hotel Corporation has a place for you in Pensacola. Visit us today at the Courtyard or Resident Inn by Marriott in downtown Pensacola, or the Hampton Inn, Homewood Suites, Hilton Garden Inn, or the new Residence Inn near the Pensacola Airport.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hey, this is Chad Berliante from the Afternoon Sports Drive, and you're listening to Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson on this Tuesday afternoon. Hope everybody's safe out there. The weather is going to pass through pretty quick. I hope everybody is. I know there's been some warnings out there, but nonetheless, stay safe. And we're talking some football with you, Coach. I know there was something you wanted to get to before we went to break.
No, I'm just looking forward to this draft that you're talking about there. This is usually a very interesting draft. They include trades, which I think is important to do because there's some that, to me, are very obvious. But anyway, I'm just looking forward to getting to this draft information.
Well, absolutely, Coach. When you look at Pro Football Focus, there's a lot that goes into Pro Football Focus and what they do in the analytics and everything that's involved here. So there are some trades. There's some things that make me scratch my head a little bit, and maybe you, Coach, will see. First overall, the Cincinnati Bengals, it has them taking Joe Burrow. Look, we know that Miami is interested. There's been rumors out there as well, Coach. I know that you've told me that they're willing to trade up to number 1 to get Joe Burrow. A lot of it depends on Tua. Remember with Tua as well, that 10-second video is all well and good, but there's a lot more that goes into it. That's a good sign for him throwing the football like that with his hip. But I think he's going to have one more time to be checked out before it's all said and done, before the draft. Of course, it hurts Tua, may hurt Tua. We'll see what happens because, not being able to come into team facilities and things like that, the Dolphins had invited him, and he didn't make it before it was closed. So, it's a tremendous risk to take him. Nonetheless, Coach, at number 2.
The other thing you got to remember with Tua, that we might as well go ahead and insert in the conversation. I did not realize until a couple of days ago that Tua also had an injury history in high school. So it goes from high school right up through college, injury meaning not just hurts, but injuries where he's had to miss play. So we have to keep that in mind here as we go forward.
That's news to me, actually. So that's interesting, Coach. Look, I see it right here. He also missed the Manning Passing Academy with a hamstring injury, and had a minor ankle injury as well in high school. Look, that's the thing with Tua, Coach, is I love Tua. I do. I think he's awesome as a person. I think he's awesome as a quarterback. But it's so tough. And I've never been there, Coach. I'm not going to act like that. You've been in those front offices talking with people, making decisions, watching film and everything. With Tua, look, do you take the risk here? I mean, this is what I'm saying. I know that if they clear him to be healthy, they clear him to be healthy, but the body just breaks down. And for Tua, I know all those ankle injuries. And look, I know that even the doctors have said, well, the ankles are stronger now that they've had the surgery there, but you still had those injuries. And then the injury to the hip there, and the injuries in the past. I know bumps and bruises are a part of an athlete. They go through it all the time. But to have the surgeries the way he has, Coach, that's got to make you second guess sometimes when you look at taking him at a number 5, or like Pro Football Focus right here has them trading up to number 2 to the pick from the Washington Redskins to get in there. That's got to make me second guess that a little bit.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. The medical is the big issue with Tua. I agree with you. I really, really like him as a quarterback. In fact, I think he's going to be able to withstand get through the injury problem and be a very successful quarterback in the NFL. I believe that sincerely. Plus, he's a great kid, great guy to have in your locker room. He's a winner. So I like everything about Tua, but you just have to get through that medical situation. And believe me, it is huge when you start talking about the future of your football team and utilizing a number 1 draft pick and what that does to your football team, the harm it does if you make a mistake there over quite a long period of time. Okay, let's get on then with you've got some other interesting points here on this draft. I'm anxious to hear.
Yeah, right there. Number 2, the Miami Dolphins trading up to the Redskins for picks 5, 18, and 39. So that's 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick. That'd be awesome for the Redskins. Here's the problem, Coach. Now, it's they still have the Detroit Lions taking Jeffrey Okudah at number 3. Nobody trading there. I don't see that happen. I know you feel the same way about that. Moving on to this, the New York Giants taking a wide receiver early. And this is, when you look at this for the New York Giants, having Daniel Jones there, we know they need some offensive line help. But Henry Ruggs III, the wide receiver out of Alabama, wouldn't be an argument here necessarily, except, well, they need some help on that defense, Coach. This is where I would see Isaiah Simmons maybe going. And here's the other thing to remember in all this. Chase Young, they have him going number 5 to the Redskins. Coach, surely number 3, the Detroit Lions.
No way that's going to happen. No way that's going to happen. And listen, I don't think Washington trades out of that number 2. And they take Chase Young there. The only way that Miami is going to trade that many, in my opinion, give up that much equity in the draft and trade up would be to go up to number 1 and get Joe Burrow, not Tua. You're not going, in addition to using a number 1 pick to get Tua with the medical situation. Now, what we just talked about, now throw in a couple more. number ones, and look at the equity that you put into a guy who may or may not be available on the field. I just don't see that happening. They may move up with something much less than you're talking about, and go to number 3 to get Tua, if indeed they want Tua. It may be another quarterback they want. But I really think that you got to think long and hard about using what they have available to them and moving up. If they want to really make the big splash, they'll go for Cincinnati at number 1 and take Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I agree, Coach. To trade up that many, then that's what we've been rumored to hear, that Miami would trade up to get that number 1 in Joe Burrow. I can't see that happening there. And for Washington, look, this is a guy, regardless of whether this happened or not, I can't see Chase Young getting past the next pick. I mean, because even if the Detroit Lions or the New York Giants had the opportunity and Chase Young was on the board, I know that Giants would like to have a receiver or a defensive guy there, somebody else, maybe an Isaiah Simmons, but you would be crazy. And for the Lions, I know, they need a cornerback, but to pass up on a guy that's being compared to Hall of Fame athletes in the NFL, how in the world? I'm not saying they wouldn't do it, because they've done crazier things out there, but I just can't see that happening at all, Coach.
No, I don't see that happening either. I think Detroit is sitting there solely for trade reasons, okay? And they're going to get some trade opportunities. Now, depending on let's just play through a scenario here, and a couple of things that we've already talked about that we need to at least put an opinion in on. One is if Cincinnati agrees to a trade with Miami moves up and gets Burrow, then Washington takes Young, and Detroit is sitting there with Tua as being the next guy that people may think about. You might. I don't think that Miami. I don't think that anybody would give up a ton right there, as much as they would if Joe Burrow was sitting there. Okay. Now, here's the other thing that you got to remember. If the Redskins miss this opportunity to get Young, he's gone. If they trade out of there, somebody's going to jump in there and get him, or either Detroit will take him right there. Somebody would be crazy not to take him. And the other thing I hear about the Giants really, really high on Sanders. I know they would like a receiver, an offensive lineman. I think those are probably the most desired positions, but obviously they feel that Sanders is something extremely special, and that's what they're looking at. That's what I hear. So we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, Coach, and moving on to this, the Chargers, it has them, and this is what, now the Chargers, their explanation for this is that the Chargers are picking up Cam Newton, is what they believe is going to happen. This is what's all this mock draft stuff is. They believe that they're going to pick up Cam Newton and they're going to draft Jerry Jeudy out of Alabama, which if that happened, it wouldn't be a bad thing. But, Coach, we've talked about this. We don't believe that's going to happen.
I don't, just based on what I'm hearing. And, I've heard from good sources that the Chargers really like the kid from Oregon, Justin Herbert. And if that's the case, and they're saying what they're saying about Tyrod Taylor, and not really showing that much move toward Cam Newton at this point, and also with the other things that we've already talked about it. So I think it lines up for them to draft Justin Herbert at this point.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, we're up against a break. We got to take one real quick before the end of the hour here, and we'll come back, and we're going to make a note. The Patriots, it's interesting what they have them drafting as well. We'll talk about that right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
Pensacola is an amazing destination enjoyed by millions of people every year. High Point Hotel Corporation is proud to offer area visitors a place they can call home in Pensacola. Whether you're looking for a downtown property with space to work and play, a place to rest your head before your morning flight, or a large suite for an extended stay, High Point Hotel Corporation has a place for you in Pensacola. Visit us today at the Courtyard or Resident Inn by Marriott in downtown Pensacola, or the Hampton Inn, Homewood Suites, Hilton Garden Inn, or the new Residence Inn near the Pensacola Airport.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson on this Tuesday afternoon. Hope everybody's safe out there with everything going on right now. Nonetheless, we are talking some football with you. Coach, I just got the alert here. The NFL has approved the playoff expansion, so we will now have 14 teams as we thought, Coach.
Well, that's good. As we said, I think it's good for everybody.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be fun. Coach, I know we got about a minute and a half here. I want to go down the New England Patriots. It's going to be interesting to see how they do in this draft here. Now, Pro Football Focus has them as drafting a safety, Ashton Davis out of Cal, and they said because they don't know if Devin McCourty is going to be back there, how this is all going to work for them, and they have to shore up their defense. Coach, do you agree with that, or do you think this needs to be kind of an offensive draft for the Patriots here and going out and getting maybe a wide receiver or a tight end?
I think they need an awful lot. They certainly need a tight end. They need a receiver terribly bad. But I think that's I would not agree with that pick, and I don't claim to be right. I may be wrong, but I would not go with a defensive safety under any circumstances. I mean, you could have you could have the greatest defensive safety in the world, and I wouldn't draft him at this point. I think they need a more impact football player, and they need him. They need him right away. So I don't agree with that pick.
Yeah, I agree. I think right now, more than ever, especially, I said this before, Coach, with Tom Brady gone, if Tom Brady can't get you over the hump with what you have there, I don't know if anybody else can. It's gonna be tough, though, see how this entire draft goes, because once somebody makes a move, it changes the entire aspect of everything going on. But nonetheless, Coach, that's our sound right there. So, as usual, we run out of things, or run out of time. We have plenty to talk about, but it's been fun, my friend.
You bet. And listen, we're going to, one day, either tomorrow or the next day, we're going to have Gil Brandt on, and we'll send out a FaceTime on that. That'd be interesting, Gil Brandt.
Yeah, that Gil Brandt, always an interesting interview, always bringing the knowledge there. Look, that's going to be fun, Coach. But you know what? We're gonna wrap it up, and we're going to do this again tomorrow.
You bet. Look forward to it. Thank you, JP.
Absolutely.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Take on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80, and ESPN News. I'm Jason Fitz. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. A couple of pieces of information you should know, a couple of headlines out there. China has delayed the restart of basketball and some other events. So, this is a setback to resumption of professional sports. Brian Windhorst has written a great article out on ESPN.com detailing the information you need. The Chinese government issued an order Tuesday delaying the restart of the Chinese Basketball Association and other group sporting events. That's according to documents obtained by ESPN. That's significant because the CBA's attempt to return to action after being shut down since January was seen as sort of a litmus test for American sports leagues to get an idea of the timing and the way that it has been working. So they thought that they were going to be able to bring the Chinese Basketball Association back. However, that has again been postponed as a result of an order from the Chinese government. Other news you need to know, sticking in the NBA, Michael Jordan. We're all waiting for it. The Last Dance has been moved up to April 19th. The world asked, so Disney has cooperated. ESPN is moving up the release of the Michael Jordan documentary, The Last Dance. They're moving it from June to April. That move was announced this morning on Good Morning America. It's in response directly to fans asking for it. The series will be available outside the U.S. on Netflix. So, starting April 19th, we'll at least have Michael Jordan memories to go through as a 10-part series that everybody's been excited for. It's First Take Your Take. I'm Jason Fitz. We're asking you, speaking of the NBA, your favorite sport, whatever it is, when it comes back. When your favorite sport comes back, what should it look like? How should it do it? The limited season? Do you want an interesting tournament? Give me your real ideas. Give me your creative ideas. 2-for-1 tickets, whatever you think. We had somebody earlier suggest that Google Minis be put in all the seats and people be able to cheer somehow through that. So I want your innovative ideas. 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. Tell me how your favorite sport should come back. ESPN Radio presented by Progressive Insurance. Quoting home insurance just got easier with Progressive's Home Quote Explorer. Quote and buy all online at progressive.com. So, if you've been listening with us the last week or so, First Take is doing an awesome series called QB Continued. So, the whole point of QB Continued is every day they break down a different quarterback and a team situation. What we do on First Take Your Take is we take that conversation and move it a step forward. So, we'll start with a little bit of the conversation about Jimmy G. Not sure there's many quarterbacks more polarizing right now to everybody